the WELT station manager, John O'Rourke. How you doing, John?
I am great.
As the station manager for WELT, what do you do? How do you operate?
Wow, that's a big question.
It's a loaded question.
It is. It's the whole position's actually in transition as the station continues to grow. So really, it's a jack of all trades. There is a lot of technical things that I've really been focusing on since I've got here, and that's researching what works best for this situation, because we're a unique radio station. It's not like we're set up and there's a bunch of people who really know radio well and can go in and start doing it. So I'm trying to find stuff that's intuitive but industrial enough and for everybody to work with, and also that gives people real training they can use if they decide they want to move on and do something else. So that's been a big part of the job so far. You know, the funny thing is, my background has been most parts been in programming and helping radio stations, program music and shows and stuff like that, and making the decisions of what goes where and all that kind of stuff. And here, that is something I don't do hardly at all. I try to lend advice to those who are helping to do stuff, but I can't, because it's a community radio. It's not John's radio station. The library owns the license, but it's still the community's radio station. So it's the community that picks what happens when, where, and how, why, and how.
This is a very good segue then, because your experiences come from.
I started off as part-time DJ while I was in college, and I actually went to a school for performing arts my junior and senior year in high school, and we had a radio and television program there that I was in. So I really started doing real radio things all the way back in high school, but got a real job in '81 while I was in college. But I went to Salt Lake City to program, worked out my contract in Salt Lake, and moved back here. And then I went back to programming, and I went to WMEE and did programming in mornings. And gosh, from there, I went into I started working in not-for-profit radio, working at a contemporary Christian station, and did that for a bunch of years, and learned a lot about the not-for-profit world, and then got into teaching, which I really was doing that just as an adjunct profession. I really loved teaching radio and television.
In radio? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really, really liked that, and thought that's where I was going to end up.
What I see is you've had a rich history in radio. Then how easy was the crossover from, I don't know if you call it secular radio to community radio?
Well, I was working commercial radio.
Commercial, okay.
To
community
because most
radio.
recently I was at Magic 95, Fun 101, and Alt 99.5.
How easy was the crossover?
It was. It wasn't difficult in that the work was harder. It was just pacing's different.
Okay.
Very different. So that is it's an adjustment.
Okay.
The pacing was an adjustment.
What has been most surprising or refreshing or challenging with that crossover?
Most refreshing's easy. It is working with a group of people, and that includes staff that's here, but really the volunteers and the show producers here, who are excited about creating radio.
Okay.
Commercial radio, and it's always a business, but the commercial radio side got so into the business side that they were willing to let the product suffer so they could make a bigger profit margin.
Okay.
Or make their staff suffer so they can make a bigger profit margin. And that got real disheartening. Here, it's all about the creative process. I mean, we have challenges, obviously.
Yes.
Lots of challenges to do what we want to do, but the excitement's there, and that's what's fun. That's what got me into radio way back in the dark ages.
And do you want to speak to the challenging part?
Oh, the challenges. Challenges are... and it's a personal challenge. It's the pacing.
Okay.
It's like, there's things here that I got in, and my first couple of weeks in the job, like, well, we need to fix this, which I would think, in commercial radio it would have been fixed. And here we're still waiting for funding, and it's a challenge. It's not unsurmountable or anything like that. It's just different. And working with this station not having a specific format.
Okay.
So we're working with a lot of diverse people who have their own ideas what the radio station should sound like or be like or you know.
We've got our own agendas, huh?
Well, and that's fine. That's what we are.
Right.
But trying to get people to come together to work as a group.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's. I just have to figure out ways to get people to see the big picture.
Okay.
Painting that big picture beyond just the show that they do. So the health of the overall radio station can improve, which gives everybody's individual shows an even bigger platform.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
That's awesome. Can I ask you, what does WELT mean to you personally and professionally?
Personally, well, I shared the vision long ago when Eric first tried going for the signal. I remember hearing about it, and I mean, I was still doing not-for-profit radio then, and I just thought, what a great thing. Well, I was doing contemporary Christian stuff. I'm like, I can go over there and do a rock show that I could never get away with on a thing. But I just liked the idea, and again, it all comes down to people that are excited about art of what radio is, the audio art, whether it's music, whether it's doing a good interview, whether it's telling a story, whether it's using it for just for the pure purpose of it's a community loudspeaker and you just want to get your message out. I mean, that's what radio is for. It's an audio art. It's there's the art gallery down the hall, and it's easy to go, oh, look, there's an artist here. But, there's just as much artwork as somebody who comes in here and is doing their own remix of a song or picking a playlist of oldies or jazz or something like that, and laying that out in a way that's going to be entertaining and ways to that you can weave in information. And there is an art to it. It's not. And I think as people come in, a lot of people come in and go, "Oh, this sounds like fun," and they sit down and they start doing it, and it is fun. But they also realize it can be a lot of work. I used to laugh. The old joke was when I did morning radio, you'd get in at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and you'd leave at noon or 1 o'clock. And people go, oh, must be nice. They'd look at their watch, and it's like,
I've been working since 4 o'clock in the morning.
Or people who don't know radio would go, so when are you on the air? Well, I'm on the air from 6 until 10 in the morning. Oh, so what do you do the rest of the day?
Right.
Do you have another job? For every hour on the air, there's a couple hours off the air getting ready for it.
What does WELT mean to you professional? Or have we touched on that?
No, not really. I'm just trying to think how I would put it. It's, to me, it's more personal than professional. I mean, with me is kind of a chance to be a teacher. I haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of that yet because I'm just still fixing stuff.
Right.
We're trying to take the rowboat and put a motor on it. That's something, I don't know. We're trying to build it up. We're working on building the platform that we can really grow on.
That's good.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Eric put the foundation down. I'm building the house or the whatever, the building, and then we can grow from there.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yes. What is your future vision?
Oh,
for WELT.
That's a we're grappling with that. I'm grappling with that in my head. I just came back from a convention for community broadcasting. That's a big question I'm asking. Is if someone said, "Look, this is what we're going to do. Just make sure the facility is good so people can come in and do their thing and try to make a schedule." If that's all it has to be. That's great. That's what it can be. I think it can be a lot more. I think we can. Increase our quality of everybody's programming. We'll get the physical plant fixed. It's just how fast. I mean, the physical plant's a frustration for everybody. I understand that. And that's going to get fixed. And that just, takes a lot of money and time. But the future, I really see the future of us pulling together as an organization. We really need to concentrate on that informational section, the things that are serving the underserved. Okay?
Yes.
Now, and that could be in a variety of different ways. But if we can do that and effectively do it and figure out ways to do it and get the right kind of programming on that does that, that can build our story to people who can help us grow.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It does. That's good.
And I think down the road, I wouldn't. Hopefully, it's while I'm still here. I see us in a couple of years down the road. We get everything rolling, and we get our revenue streams rolling, and we get our system set up so we can effectively do underwriting and effectively figure out ways to make money. Not just, we need a fundraiser because we got to get a couple $1,000s to pay our bills from last year. What we are now is powerful and can be very powerful.
Absolutely.
And, we've got, even though our signal's small, we've got the power of the internet and the power of just being out in, going out and doing things in public. We're something now,
Absolutely.
and we can be a lot better at what we do.
Right.
And it's just, and the other big goal I see is it truly being run by the community. Right now, it's kind of half and half. It's kind of community run, and it's kind of like the Access TV channels. It's just like, oh, we need something. Okay, here's a slot. We'll put it in, and whatever you do is fine. And again, if they say that's what it's going to be forever and a day, that's fine. But I really want it to be where it's really run by volunteers, or eventually to get to a point where there's a volunteer who's the program director, or we have a program director group, and each person's responsible for a day, and it's not it's not me calling the meeting. It's the program director says, okay, it's time for a meeting, and that's what Eric originally wanted. It wasn't Eric's. It wasn't going to be the Eric Molberg radio station. At least a core group of people to really take some ownership and be a part of it. I mean, if we start doing this underwriting stuff and all this kind of stuff, now all of a sudden we need bookkeeping and sales and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And they're not gonna upstairs and go, okay, well, let's hire 4 people. Because it's a library. It's not a company designed to run a radio station. But all of those things can happen, and I saw great examples of it in this convention I went to. And we're blessed that we don't have what a lot of them had to deal with at the beginning. Could you imagine if we had to pay rent for space? Just the tower rental. We don't have to pay tower rent. Just tower rental for a radio station to have an antenna on a structure can be over $1,000 a month. That's more than we spend in a year. And we don't have to pay rent, electricity. We don't buy our own office supplies. All that stuff is part of us being that. So there's some really cool things about being a part of the organization we're part of. But yeah, I see it grow. I see it growing really big and being truly a grassroots place for entertainment and information.
Nice.
And a place to showcase arts.
So here's the final question. As succinctly as you can.
Oh, that's hard
in
for
a
me.
sentence or two. What does community radio mean to you?
I can tell you what I envision it being, and that really is the community soapbox, and I see it being a community run and led soapbox for people to stand up and voice their thoughts and opinions and showcase their art that is free from the commercial constraints of traditional radio.
Awesome. That's good. That was John O'Rourke, WELT station manager. Thank you.
You're welcome.